Alright, so this video is looking at elimination. So, last video we were looking at substitution. So we were just substituting an expression in for one of the variables in the other equation. This one we're actually going to be eliminating either x or y. And we do that with opposites. So personally, I don't really care for the same sign subtract rule. I stick with opposite signs, okay? So when I say opposites, I want things like 5 and negative 5, or 2 and negative 2, 10 and negative 10, things like that. And when I have 2 and negative 2 and I add them down, I know they're going to eliminate each other, okay? And we'll look at strategies to do if they're not opposites. So let's look at number 1. Okay, so number 1, I look to see if I have opposites. So I look at my x's. Obviously 5 and 1 are not opposites. 2 and negative 2 are opposites. These don't count over here. So even if these numbers were opposites, I have to either eliminate x or y. So since I have a pair of opposites, I'm ready to add straight down. And you're going to add like terms together. So 5x and x makes 6x. Negative 2y and 2y eliminate. That's what I wanted. I bring down my equal sign. 4 and 8 makes 12. So now I have an equation with just a single variable. Okay, so now I'm going to divide by 6, and x equals 2. So remember, all of these systems have to have an ordered pair answer. So I got an x value, now I need a y value. So you choose either one of the top two equations, top two original equations. I like the bottom one a little bit better. So I'm going to use this equation right here. Okay, so x is 2, right? I bring that number up and stick it there, plus 2y equals 8. So now I'm just solving for the y variable. So I subtract 2. So 2y equals 8 minus 2 is 6. Divide, and y equals 3. So then my ordered pair answer, write it together, x comma y, 2 comma 3. Okay, so if you already have a pair of opposites, like we did here, just add straight down, solve the equation that's left to get your first piece, and then the second half is just like we did with substitution. You use one of the two original equations, plug it in for the variable you know, solve for the variable you don't. All right, let's look at number 2. So what happens if, instead of having opposites, we have the same? So negative 5 and negative 5 are exactly the same instead of opposites. All I'm going to do is flip the sign of one of them, okay? And when I do that, I have to do it to the entire equation. So you can choose, it honestly does not matter. We can either flip the signs of the top equation or the bottom equation. I will go ahead and do the bottom equation, okay? So a negative 4x becomes positive, negative 5y becomes positive, and a positive 14 becomes negative, okay? So you do have to do it to the entire equation. It's kind of like we're multiplying by a negative 1, okay, towards the entire equation, and that'll make more sense as we move forward, okay? So now that we have opposites with negative 5y and positive 5y, we're ready to add down. So 2x and 4x makes 6x. Negative 5y and positive 5y eliminate. That's good. Negative 20 and negative 14 makes negative 34. Okay, so now I just solve what's left. So I get x equals, what would that be? Negative 7? No. 6 times 6. Ew. Alright, well, I had to pause the video there because it's not going to come out nicely, so I didn't know if I messed something up or not. But I paused it, I checked it, and it's right. So we're going to roll with negative 5.7, okay? So negative 5.7 is my x value. Let's go with my y value. So again, I can choose either one of the two original equations. I'll pick the, I'll pick the top this time. So 2 times x, which I just figured out is negative 5.7, okay, minus 5y, thank you, equals negative 20. Okay, so there's my equation with the x value plugged in. Now I can go ahead and solve. So 2 times my 5.7 is 11.4, so negative 11.4 minus 5y equals negative 20. So then opposite operation, add 11.4. So I have negative 5y equals, would that be negative 8.6? Divide by negative 5. And y equals 1.72. So 1.72. So then put them together as an ordered pair. And there's your final answer. Okay. So if we have opposites like number 1, just add straight down. If you have the same instead of opposites, you're just flipping the signs of an entire equation and then going from there. Okay, so let's just pause the video, try 3 and 4, and then play the video when you're ready for me. Okay, so on 3, we see that we have opposites right here on the x's, so we're ready to add down. So negative 4x and 4x eliminate. Negative 2y and 8y makes 6y. Negative 12 and negative 24 makes negative 36. Now we're ready to solve what's left. So divide by 6. And y equals negative 6. So let's find a x to go with it. I like the bottom equation a little better because it doesn't have negatives in it. So 4x plus 8 times y is negative 6 equals negative 24. So then solving for that x, 8 times negative 6 is negative 48. So then I want to add 48 to both sides. So I have 4x equals positive 24. Divide by 4. And I end up with x equals a positive 6. So my ordered pair answer, x comma y is 6, negative 6. Alrighty, let's look at number 4. So in this case, we don't have opposites. We have the same, right, with negative 9y and negative 9y. So I'm going to flip the signs of one of the full equations. In this case, it doesn't really matter which one. I'm going to do the bottom. So they're all negative, so I'm going to flip them all positive. And now I have opposites. Now I'm ready to add down. So negative 2x and positive 4x equals positive 2x. Negative 9y and positive 9y eliminate, which is what I wanted. Negative 25 plus 23 is negative 2. So then I divide by 2, and I end up with x equals negative 1. I need a y value to go with that. Let's just use the top one. So negative 2 times the x value is negative 1 minus 9y equals negative 25. So negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. Okay, so getting y all by itself. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So negative 9y equals negative 27. Divide by negative 9. And y equals a positive 3. So write it as an ordered pair. And we get negative 1 comma 3. All right, let's flip to the back. Okay, so on the back here, we have some more complicated problems. So let's just look at number 7. Okay, so on number 7, I want to make sure that you understand this does not count as having opposites. Because if I eliminate this, I still have x's, I still have y's. That's not good. Right, I want opposites on either the x's or the y's. So I don't see opposites on either one. I also don't see the same thing on either one, so I can't just multiply by a negative 1. So in these types of problems, we have to multiply an entire equation by something to create opposites. So if we check the x's, if I leave this as a 10, I would have to multiply 2 by negative 5. So that would work. If we look at the y's, if I left 5y alone, there's nothing I can multiply 3 by to make it negative 5, unless I did like a decimal, but I don't want to mess with that. So I'm going to go with the x's. I'm going to leave this bottom equation alone with 10x in it. I'm going to make this top one negative 10x to make opposites. So in order to make 2 into negative 10, I would have to multiply by negative 5. So I'm going to do that to the entire equation, just like we flipped the signs of the entire equation on the last page. Okay, so now let's rewrite our system. So the new top equation is now negative 10x. Negative 5 times 5y is minus 25y. Bring down your equal sign. Negative 5 times negative 22 is 110, positive 110. My second equation didn't change at all, right? I didn't multiply it by anything. 10x plus 3y equals 22. Now I have opposites with the x's, and now I'm ready to add down. So the rest of this problem is exactly the same as the first page. So negative 10x and 10x eliminate. Negative 25y and 3y makes negative 22y. And then 110 and 22 makes 132. Solve what's left, so divide by negative 22. I think that's 6, let me double check. 132 divided by 22 is 6, yep. So y equals, let's see, it's going to be negative 6. Then I need an x value to go with that. So choose one of your two original equations. I'll pick the top one. So I have 2x plus 5 times the y value I just figured out is negative 6 equals negative 22. Okay, so 2x, 5 times negative 6 is minus 30. Okay, so I'm going to add 30. 2x equals 8. Divide by 2, and x is 4. So write it as an ordered pair. Always make sure you get x comma y. So 4 comma negative 6. Okay, so go ahead and try, let's do a couple of them. So try 9 and 10. So go ahead and pause the video. Try 9 and 10, and then you can play when you're ready for me. All right, let's look at 9. Okay, so to create opposites, 4 and 5 are going to be tough. Let's stick with the y's here. So I'm going to leave the bottom one as 6y, and I'm going to make the top one a negative 6y. So I'd have to multiply 2 by negative 3 to make it negative 6. Okay, so let's write my new system. So negative 3 times 4x is negative 12x. Negative 3 times 2y is negative 6y. Negative 3 times 8 is negative 24. Second equation didn't change. 5x plus 6y equals 3. Now I have opposites in my y's. Now I'm ready to add down. Alright, so negative 12x plus 5x is negative 7x. The negative 6y and 6y eliminate each other, which is what I wanted. Negative 24 plus 3 is negative 21. So now divide by negative 7. And I end up with x equals a positive 3. So now I need a y value to go with it. So I'll pick my bottom equation. So 5 times the x value is 3 plus 6y equals 3. And now let's solve for y. 5 times 3 is 15. So I subtract 15 from both sides. And I have 6y equals 3 minus 15 is negative 12. Divide by 6, and I end up with y equals negative 2. So my ordered pair is 3 comma negative 2. Okay, and lastly, number 10. So you can kind of go either way here. This is kind of a problem where it doesn't really matter if you match up x's or y's. If I matched up x's, I would have to multiply the top equation by negative 2 to make it 10x and negative 10x. If I matched up y's, I would have to multiply the top equation by 7 to make it 7y and negative 7y. So it really doesn't matter which way you go. I'm going to go the option of negative 2 to match up my x's. Regardless of which way you did it, our answer should be the same, okay? So let's rewrite our system. So I have negative 10x, negative 2 times y is negative 2y, negative 2 times 9 is negative 18, and the bottom equation didn't change. Okay, so now we're ready to add down. So negative 10x and 10x eliminate. Negative 2y and negative 7y make negative 9y. Negative 18 and negative 18 make negative 36. So I divide by negative 9, and I end up with y equals 4. Need an x value to go with that. I'm going to choose the top equation. So 5x plus y is 4 equals 9, and just solve what's left. So 5x equals 5, divide by 5, and x is 1. So 1 comma 4. Okay, those are your elimination notes.